Hello everyone, I happily welcome you all for a new video from my channel. Today video is from the subject accounting for management, and the topic we are going to see today is accounting principle. Yes, this is one of the important topic in accountancy, particularly if you want to work out problems in financial accounting clearly. You need to understand this topic first. Only when you understand the accounting principle, it will be easy for you to work out problems in financial accounting, right? And I have also uploaded 4 other videos in the subject. I have given the link in the description. If you have not watched that video so far, I suggest you to watch those videos first and then continue watch this video. And as this is a very important video, don't skip any part of the video. Watch the video till the end so that it will be helpful for you to understand the subject and also understand the upcoming videos in this subject. Above all, I'm thankful for the support you're giving for my channel. I hope I will do the same as you expect. Okay, right. Without any further delays, let us get into the video. Accounting principle. In general, principle means a rule or law concerning the function of a complex system. Accounting is a complex system. Why? Because various people use a particular accounting information. The information will be used by the accountant. The information will be used by the supplier. The information will be used by customer, management, government, bankers. Various people use the accounting information. So suppose I am preparing accountancy for my company. I may write in my own way, my style and my convenience, which might not be understood by my supplier. Suppose I want to arrange loan for my company. I am presenting my accounting data to the bankers, but they are not in a position to understand the way in which I have prepared my accounting reports. So that's why it is felt that we should have some common way of preparing the accounting reports. So for that, in this accounting principle, two important aspects are there. One is accounting concepts. So in general, we know concept means a notion or abstraction which is generally accepted, something which is generally accepted by everyone. Accounting concept is a unifying structure to the accounting process and accounting report. So we have already seen accounting cycle. In that, we have seen that from day one what happens in the accounting process. We have different report. We have journal to enter the date wise information, and we have ledger to post it in different head of accounts, and trial balance to balance the debit and credit balance. So many things are done in the process, and all that things have to be done in an unified way. Accounting concept gives the basic assumption or conditions upon which the accounting has been laid. Generally, when we formulate some theories, we stick on to some basic assumption. It is assumed that. So similarly, when you prepare accountancy, we have to stick on to some basic assumption. Based on that only, we have to prepare our report. And in simple, it is a broad concept. So the first part of accounting principle is concepts, accounting concept, and the second part is accounting convention. When you say convention, it is something which is like it is not accepted, but it is what in this way it is what done so far. So it is better to do in that way. That is what we tell it as convention, right? Let us see one by one. Accounting concepts. So we have various accounting concepts. We are going to see one by one. The first accounting concept is business entity concept. This concept is also known as separate entity concept and legal entity concept. This concept states that no business unit is separate and distinct from the owner or owners, that is the person who supply capital to it. Okay, suppose if I am starting a business, I am investing 10 lakhs and I am starting a business, I am supposed to be the owner or a proprietor of the business, or I and my friends are starting a business, we are all called as the owners of the business, right? Though we are owner of the business, we are separate from the business. That's why it is known as separate entity concept. And no, just because this business is separate from us, it is treated as an artificial person before the eye of the law. That is why we call it as business entity concept or legal entity concept. So whenever if I am preparing something in an accountancy, though for example if I am the owner of the company, if I am giving money to do something in the company, then that is treated as capital. The business is liable to settle the capital to me. And in case if I am taking some money from the company for my personal use, which is not related to the business, then that is said to be a drawing. So I am liable to settle it back to the business, right? So that's why no, owner is separate from the business. That is why we call it as business entity concept. The next concept is money measurement concept. So this concept implies that only those transactions which can be expressed in terms of money are recorded in the accounts. Okay, so as we have seen already in business, so many transaction happens, right? So but we have to enter only those transactions which can be measured by money, right? Suppose I am walking in a corridor, I saw an employee and I am talking to him and I'm talking something personal to him. This is something happening inside the business unit, but this is not a business transaction. This cannot be measured in terms of money, and you don't need to record such things. We have to record only in the books of account those things which is related to the transformation of money or something which is being measured by money. That is what the concept of money measurement concept. The third concept is going concern concept. So it is the basic assumption that business is a going concern and will continue its operation for a foreseeable future. So suppose if somebody is starting a business, they will not have an assumption that okay, I'm starting a business, I'm going to do this business for one day, I'm going to do this business for 10 years, or I'm going to do this business till I'm here. Okay, anyone who start a business will start the business with the aim that that is continue for ever. That's why they say like that, men may come and men may go, but business will be there for ever. If Mr. X is starting a business, he will do the business throughout his life. After him, his son or his daughter will do the business. After them, their grandchildren will do the business. So it is done with an expectation that business will be there for ever. That's why it is known as going concern concept. Then the fourth concept is caste concept. This concept is also known as historical concept, and this says that an asset is recorded in the book on the basis of the historical caste, that is the acquisition caste. So whenever no, we have lot of assets. Okay, we have fixed asset and tangible asset, and also we have some current assets for our business. But when we are entering the asset, we have to make sure that we are entering it on the historical cost. What is mean by the historical cost? Suppose I am buying a land, it is an asset for the business, right? Now this land I have bought 20 years before for rupees 50,000. Okay, now the present value of the market value of the land is 5 crores, right? But I have acquired the land only for 50,000. That is the historical cost. And 5 crore is the market price, right? So just because the market price of the land is 5 crore, I cannot enter in the book of accounts as 5 crore. I have to stick to the historical cost because from the business I have spent only 50,000 to acquire the particular land. So all the information you enter particularly related to the asset, that has to be entered only based on the historical cost. That is what we known as cost concept. The fifth concept is dual aspect concept. So according to this concept, every transaction or event has two aspects, that is dual effect. Dual effect means one part is capital plus liability, and the other part is asset. Okay, so every transaction or event will have a dual impact. Okay, capital means that is the liability to the owner, and the other liabilities to the outsider, that should be always equal to the asset. Okay, for example, a person is starting a business with 10 lakhs. Right now this 10 lakhs means capital will be 10 lakhs. On the other hand, asset will be cash will be 10 lakhs. Right now this person is using 2 lakh to buy a land for the business. Now capital will remain 10 lakh this side. On the other side, cash will be splitted as 8 lakh, and the another asset will enter as land, that is 2 lakhs. So land 2 lakhs, cash 8 lakh, totally 10 lakhs this side. On the other side, capital is 10 lakh. Suppose again the person is borrowing some 5 lakhs from bank. So now the liability is liability to the owner 10 lakhs, liability to the bank 5 lakhs, totally 15 lakhs. And in the other side, the cash, already we have 8 lakhs. Now we have borrowed 5 lakhs. So it will become 13 lakhs and 2 lakhs land. So totally 15 lakhs. So any transaction happens, any event happen in the business, that will have dual impact. One in the capital and liabilities and other in the asset side. That is what we call it as dual aspect concept. The next concept is accounting period concept. It is also known as periodicity concept. This concept deals with preparing accounts for a particular period. So generally, if you are preparing accounts, you are preparing for a accounting period. For example, 12 months. So most of the companies, 12 months start from April 1 of a particular year and ends at the March 31st of the next year. Now there are some companies which are sticking to the calendar year like January to December. But if you are following a particular accounting period, a 12 months accounting period, we have to stick to the accounting period. We should not fluctuate the accounting period frequently. That is what mean by accounting period concept. The next is revenue matching concept. What do you mean by revenue matching concept? According to this concept, revenue during an accounting period are matched with the expenses incurred during that period to earn the revenue during that period. So take for example, I know a company is sticking to an accounting period of April 1 to March 31st of the next year, right? So in that case, the company is having a practice of paying rent, not for a particular month, but for every 6 months. So in that case, a company is paying the rent. Okay, it is an expenses, right? At January they are paying for 6 months. So now by the end of the March, accounting period is getting over, but the rent has been paid for the other periods also, that is the next accounting period. So now you have to adjust that rent. Okay, we should not take into consideration that the 3 months rent which we have paid in advance. So this is called prepaid expenses, so that we have to adjust. So we have to take into consideration only the income and expenses related to the particular accounting period, and then we have to identify our revenue. That is what we call it as revenue matching concept. The next concept is realization concept. It is also known as revenue realization concept. According to realization concept, any change in value of an asset is to be recorded only when the business realizes it. Suppose we have a machinery of rupees 1 lakh. In that one machinery is of worth 10,000, and X company agrees to buy the machinery on 31st December. Okay, so we cannot make the entry when they promise us to buy, but we should make the entry only when the thing actually happens. So at the 31st December, only if they bought the machinery from us, we have to make a entry. sometimes they may fail to board that on 31st December. They may cancel the agreement also. So we have to enter the change in the value of asset. What is the change in the value of asset? After 31st December, the machinery will become 90,000 because we are selling a 10,000 worth machinery, and the cash will become plus 10,000. So this change in the value of asset should be entered only when it actually happens. So that is what we call it as realization concept. The next concept is objective evidence concept. So according to this concept, it requires that all accounting transaction recorded should be based on objective evidence. So anything you enter, for example, purchase of rupees 10,000, we should have a receipt for purchasing the goods for rupees 10,000, right? So without any proof, we cannot make an entry. So if we are making some entry, we should have a supporting evidence for making the entry. So that is what we call it as objective evidence concept. The next concept is accrual concept. According to the accrual concept, the effects of the transaction are recognized on mercantile basis. That is when they occur and not when cash is paid or received. So in business, both on purchase and sales, we have both cash purchase and cash sales. Also, we have credit purchase and credit sales. So we don't have much of confusion when it is a cash purchase or cash sales, because so the both the things, I mean what we give out and what we get in happens in a same day. Suppose in case if it is a credit purchase, we are buying on 10th and we are paying for it on 15th, right? So the purchase has happened on 10th and the payment for the purchase is happening only on 15th. It doesn't mean that just because the payment is happening only on 15th, we have to make the purchase entry only on 15th. So we have to make the purchase entry on 10th. So till that the amount will be, one entry will be the purchase, other entry will be in the name of the company from which we have purchased. So after paying the amount, we have to convert that into a cash entry. But the purchase entry have to be entered on 10th itself. We should not wait till 15th until we pay the cash. So that is what we call it as accrual concept. That is, you have to enter the mercantile transaction exactly on the same date. So far, we have seen the various accounting concept. So, which is the first part of accounting principle. The second part of accounting principle is accounting convention. Concept means something which is generally accepted. Okay, whereas convention means something which is being followed traditionally. So, there are basically four basic accounting conventions. Let us see one by one. The first accounting convention is convention of consistency. The consistency convention implies that the accounting policy must be followed consistently from one accounting period to another. So, what do you mean by consistency? Consistency means something which is same, something which is which is there is no much of variation. That is what we call it as consistency, right? So when we follow some accounting principle, so we have to be consistent with that accounting principle throughout different accounting periods. We should not change them from one accounting period to other accounting period. Take for example, calculating depreciation. So we have various methods to calculate depreciation, like written down value method, straight line method. So we have various methods. So suppose if you are using the straight line value method for calculating depreciation in an accounting period, the same has to be followed for the upcoming accounting periods. We should not stick to the other method. That is what I mean by convention of consistency. The next convention is convention of full disclosure. It implies that the account must be prepared honestly and all material information should be disclosed in the accounting statement. So when you prepare an accounting statement, we should give all the information. We should not hide any information related to the accounting process. We should disclose it fully. That is what we call it as convention of full disclosure. The next accounting principle is convention of Materiality. According to this convention, financial statements should disclose all material items which might influence the decision of the users of financial statements. So it is very much related to the previous convention. In the previous convention, full disclosure. Full disclosure means we should not hide anything, we should disclose everything. And the second, the following convention states that materiality, anything which is material, anything which is necessary for the user of information to take decision should be there in the accounting books. And the last convention is convention of conservatism or prudence. It is a policy of caution or playing safe. While recording the business transaction, one has to one has to anticipate no income but provide for all possible losses. So that is playing safe. What does mean by playing safe? So suppose when a student after writing an exam, no, they themselves evaluate their answer sheet. They come out and they say that, okay, I have written this much for this question. So at the maximum, I mean, at the minimum, I know I will get 7 marks for this question. That question is of 15 marks. No, if they reduce the maximum mark, I will get, at least 7 marks. That is what we call it as playing safe. So if they give like that, okay, I will get passed. I will get some 52, something around 52. So I will get passed. So that is what the concept behind the conservatism or playing safe. Similarly, when we are preparing some accounting information, we should not keep in mind income. Okay, I will be receiving some 10,000 from Mr. X, then I will be receiving some 20,000 from Mr. Y. Okay, with that I can easily pay the amount for Mr. Z, that is 30,000. So we should not have such notion in our mind when are preparing accounting information for future. We should always take into know I have to pay Mr. Z 30,000 rupees. For that I have to make the necessary arrangement. I should not wait on the money I am getting from Mr. X and Y. That is what the convention of conservatism or prudence. Yes, that's all about the accounting concepts and conventions. So with that, we come to the end of the topic accounting principle. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope this video is helpful for you to understand the concepts of accounting principle. And if you feel this video is useful, kindly like this video, share your comments, and also share this video with your friends who may find it useful. And next topic I am planning to give on golden rules of accounting. In that I will also be highlighting about how to identify debit and credit aspect in an accounting transaction. Alright, thank you so much for watching this video.